obviously heavily in southern, southeast, southwest metro Milwaukee, how can we expand those to the north, northwest, northeast, to make sure all of our clubs and members are, brought more into the fray. One of the things that we do every year for about the last 4 years, we call second chance tryouts. We used to call it last chance, but that kind of just had really negative connotation. So we changed it to second chance, and I think some of the clubs that run it also are changing it to second chance tryouts. We're gonna be doing them following the October 14 youth tryouts and November 15 and older tryouts. I always get the emails from the folks in Wausau and Stevens Point and lacrosse, and they say, well, how come you don't run a second chance tryout in my area? Nobody's ever asked me.
Sharky
Right?
road trip.
Yes.
We love road tripping.
So if there is a demand from clubs, so clubs, the way second chance tryouts work is we market a location, normally as neutral as possible, to bring in all of the athletes, October 14 and under, November 15 and older, to one central location. And in New Berlin, in the last couple of years, we've had anywhere between 40 and 60 athletes come to New Berlin. And Sarah and I, and maybe some of you guys, have helped us run this before. And what it is, we run the tryout. We've got a really good tryout plan that we use. And we invite you as club directors to sit on the sidelines and just evaluate talent. Milwaukee Rise has been there before, right? Supporting the event and has helped fill out their rosters thanks to this sort of thing. So if this is something that you think would be beneficial to your area up here, we're happy to run it or to coordinate somebody to come up and run it who's worked with us before. We do have a network of very trusted coaches and ambassadors in the state. We would handle the marketing. We never charge a fee for the tryout. We cover the charge of renting a facility. So if that's something that you would be interested in wanting to be a part of up here, if there's enough athletes, I mean, we might do this for like only 4 kids who signed up. But if you think that this could be beneficial to Northwest Wisconsin, we're happy to do so. Club seeking players, player seeking clubs, that is a yearly website update that we handle to make sure that all athletes are able to be seen, or you guys as clubs, if you're looking for a middle hitter at the girls 15s level, post it on our website. Okay, it's just an easy form with like 5 questions to fill out, and we normally get that posted within 12 hours of it coming in. Boys growth. Now here we are in Black River Falls, Wisconsin. There's not a ton of boys playing volleyball here, right? But we want there to be. So we do offer, in addition to what we call the boys grant, we will come out and run a boys clinic or a boys coaching clinic for any interested folks who are interested in coaching boys volleyball. Your club would receive, if you start a boys program, you get free admission to our Badger Boys series. Okay, but you're like, Sharky, there's not a lot of boys clubs up here. How are we supposed to get to Milwaukee for a Badger Boys series? If there's 2 or 3 teams, 3 teams or 4 teams in this area that would start young programs, we'd come up here and start helping run a youth development series. Because you know who's gonna love that? Sarah Voigt, because she can train officials at that. Okay? Again, what we're doing in southeast Wisconsin, we can replicate anywhere and bring the traveling road show that is Sarah Voigt to you.
I love it. I have so much fun. You want a 3C? We'll do that too.
Yes, we'll talk about that with you. You will also, for starting boys volleyball, get a discount to the Dale Roadie, which is an awesome 2-day event. We have volleyballs and other equipment that go out to boys volleyball clubs that are just starting off fresh. And all we ask is that when you fill out your club registration form, is that you check that box that yes, I'm interested in starting boys volleyball. Okay? I want to see it. It's growing. Minnesota just sanctioned boys volleyball. They had close to 100 high schools play volleyball this past spring. So if we can bridge this gap between Jackson and Minnesota, boys volleyball can really take off, especially on the club level, since Minnesota has hundreds of high school teams, 100 high school teams playing and lots of club teams. And as I said at the bottom, they're running youth clinics or coaching clinics in your area is something that we want to do more.
One other thing too is that the board is very generous with funding. So if you're running into funding problems, if there's a youth program within your area that you were like, hey, this would be great if they had a little extra money, know, we have, funding set aside for grassroots development, you know, underserved areas, things like that. And so just communicate with us, and we are happy to help provide funding, even if it's like, hey, we'll rent a gym for you, so that you guys can run and earn this money and do that type of stuff. And so, please reach out, because we would love to help, different areas of the state continue to grow.
Question about programming? Yeah, it's really good stuff. Go ahead, Mills.
What's the most, kids that you ran at that second chance trial?
Second chance strat, I think we had 60.
Yeah, we had a lot.
60 girls age 14 and under came 2 years ago to the Berlin Sportsplex. I bet Jim Maynard was there. And I think we probably got 50 of those girls at home. There's girls walking out of there crying because they said they've never gotten home before.
Yeah.
There's families that call us later that said this is the best track we've ever been to, and the region should make clubs run it like this. I'm not saying that.
Well, we also, like, we have music going and we make it really positive for the kids because we know that what they go through at tryouts. Tryouts are tough for anyone. So when they leave and seeing them happy and smiling and seeing all these clubs that are there, just them leaving with or without an offer, once they leave, they're allowed to get an offer, not in the gym. But once they leave, our hopes is that regardless, that they end their club experience on a good note.
I only ask because with the region, I guess, I would want, we'd be interested in the region's feedback or help with first chance trials. You know, we're in talks with at least one, probably 2 other clubs in our area where we run it like that so they all come to where we're at the Champion Center. And
the club's idea.
multiple clubs travel one, so you don't have a 14-year-old girl having to go to 4 tryouts in a day, which is impossible to show your best after 6 hours. So that's why I asked, how many did you run? You know, like, would it be feasible for the region to run 200 girls in a day? You know,
We
well,
have plans.
3 clubs do all the evaluating.
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
And the cool thing is, I don't wanna get deep in the weeds, but
That's
if
not my
you guys
case.
have ever heard of VLA, Volleyball League of America, semi-professional volleyball happening in the state of Wisconsin, we have connections with 3 men's teams, Milwaukee Dive, Milwaukee Golden, Madison,
Inferno.
Inferno, thank you.
Gotcha.
Blank.
Okay.
They are all, we contract them quite often to assist Sarah and I. They are awesome clinicians. They work amazing with the
They have
athletes.
fun.
They have fun.
Yeah.
And I bet you if we collaborate and we can bring those guys everywhere, cause it helps them offset their costs for VLA. So it's a really good program that we have and we wanna expand.
So if that's something that this area is interested in too, please talk with your other directors, those in the area, and if that's something that we can help out with, absolutely.
I'm not gonna go too deep in this, but as you guys know, Jen and I love communication. Please maintain a regular, reading of all of our newsletters. We are aware of website issues. Here's where the 2-second snapshot. Our site got flagged for malware a couple months ago. We have been fighting with a couple organizations, our provider and Spectrum, to get it removed. If you're still having problems, maybe just shoot us an email. We are recommending, if you can't get on at all, get off of any Spectrum Wi-Fi or network that you're on, use your data, use something else. You know, the schools and libraries struggle to get on our site, but we are working, we have a software engineer looking at all of it right now, so tell your folks who need to get on our website to please be patient. I don't know if anybody's experienced that. As introduced earlier, Alex is our new social media guru. He is doing a lot of fun contests, a lot of education. When he was hired, he had a ton of great ideas, still has a ton of great ideas that we're gonna do on socials to engage more people, educate more people, and encourage people to have fun with it. So volleyball, you name it, we've probably covered it, we'll probably recover it in some way in the coming year. Alex also has done things called Wednesday Wisdom, and he's also done some Monday Mindsets to talk about mental health training. So those are really good. And then as always, we just love to communicate via emails, so please read them and get back to us in a timely manner that affects you. Now, if something comes up where you feel like 48 hours passed, nobody's gotten back to your email or your phone call, call us, email us, membership@badgervolleyball.org, just so that we are, you know, we might be experiencing a problem in Ireland that we don't know. So we just want to emphasize communication is key, and we want to be here for you. So we're happy to do that. Communication questions? All right, we're gonna jump into coaching education. We kind of just quickly touched about it, how we are willing to bring coaching clinics or stuff to your area. We've got an upcoming opportunity for pretty much new coaches, I would say, on August 27th down in New Berlin. We are still partners with Art of Coaching and ADCA to get discounted or premium memberships for free for a limited number of coaches, as well as our regular ADCA coaching benefits. And most notably is the 3C opportunities. And then, struggling to talk. Our 3C program is what we call coaches coaching coaches, all right? Sarah, myself, Scott, we love to come out and help your club run a practice, become more efficient, okay? We're never gonna tell you how to pass a ball, okay? Or you should only serve, you know, with your hand behind your neck or something, you know? Whatever it is that you want to train, that's up to you. How you train it is our goal to make you more efficient and better at it, right? Making things a little bit more game-like, getting more reps, right? One of the things is, you guys come to a lot of coaching clinics going, I need a drill, okay? Well, what are you currently doing? How can we make it more game-like? How can we double the number of reps in the 2 hours you have on the court, right? That's what 3C is all about, is going into your gym, pretty much using the practice time you're already using, so you don't have to pay for another rental for us to come in and help you guys. We want to just meet you where you're at, right? And we're happy to do that. Again, that is free of charge, because that is part of our region's coaching education dollar allotment that our board of directors gives us. Sarah, do you want to elaborate more on 3C
Yeah.
since you're a regular cadre
I
member?
love it. It's so fun. And what's great about 3C is it teaches whomever is at the 3C how to teach their coaches, right? We're not showing, it's not a coaching clinic per se. It's to teach you as the lead or the club director how to disseminate that information and that communication to your coaches. What ends up happening is I'll schedule like a 2-hour 3C, and we end up talking for 4 hours, like 2 hours afterwards. I never get home on time. Because I try to ask the right questions to encourage coaches to think outside the box, to think simpler, to think about, you know, the mindset of whatever age group. Is it 12s, they wanna do open nationals and this and this and this, but the level isn't there yet. Just try to reset and just have people think a little bit differently. Whether or not, and the majority of the time it's received great. And my focus is the grassroots and the younger 14 and under kids. I love working with them and with new coaches. So it's a fun time for us, and we bring a bunch of exciting swag and stuff for the kids that they get to win, and it ends up being a great moment for the region and the clubs. So.
Any coaching education questions? All right, the dreaded T word, okay, tryouts. We just finished year 2 of summer tryouts, and our board of directors is going to be looking at how the process went. Okay, I'm the liaison to the tryout committee, so I'm the messenger. Don't shoot me. What the board is looking at for when they meet in September, I think September 14th is their first board meeting of the new club season. They're going to be looking at a couple things: dates for 2026. Looking at that length of time between your trial, which might have been July 19th and the first commitment of August 1st, just looking at the whole process as a whole. You all will be receiving tomorrow, question mark, Jen? A survey. I know we love surveys in our region, but this one's really, really important, okay? There's 140 clubs in the state of Wisconsin. We want your feedback on how summer tryouts have gone, what have been the pros, what have been the cons to the athlete, the club, all right, and any other sort of observations you have, okay? This information is gonna get disseminated directly to your specific area rep on the board as well as the tryout committee, okay? And that's gonna be followed up with just some conversations where board members might be reaching out to you. They're not gonna reach out to you if you don't go on the survey. So that's kind of like where we're at, and this is gonna be a quick turnaround time, because as I said, the board meeting is September 14th, okay, less than a month away. So the survey's gonna need to be filled out, digested really quick by tryout committee and board reps, conversation needs to be had, follow-ups before the meetings, and then the board's gonna use a little bit of their time on September 14th to talk about tryouts. I'm not gonna say anything is going one way or the other at this time, because that is kind of in your court with the feedback that you guys are gonna give us from the survey.
One thing that I do ask is if you say, I hate summer tryouts, which is, we get that, why? Like, and I'm not trying to be like needling, but like, help us understand why. Help us understand why it impacts your club, how it impacts your athletes. Do you have any solutions? Like, we love solution-based feedback. So just help us understand and make it more, less emotional and more like fact-based. I hate summer tryouts because X, Y, Z. That is supremely helpful to us. Because then we don't, we just don't get, well, I don't know why they don't like it, they just don't like it. If we can say, well, I don't like it because I can't get gym time because the floors are being redone. That's a huge point, right? So help us understand the why, help us understand if you think, I hate the month-long commitment period. It would be great if it was 2 weeks or a week. We can do stuff like that, right? So just help us understand the why and any potential solutions that you have, and then this becomes golden. Jason?
Along with that, I would love to hear the, why does somebody like it?
Correct, and
give me
that
the
is in
reason
the survey.
why they like it,
Yes.
because I've not heard any of that from anybody.
Correct. Well, and as we all know,
Yeah.
people only complain, right? Like, we rarely hear when things are going well. We only hear from the people who don't like it. And so that is part of the survey. The survey is done. We just wanted to wait until this meeting to see if there were any other things that needed to be added into it. But there is a what do you like about this? Because I know that there are some that don't like certain things about it. And so if we can tweak even one thing that makes it better, great. So there is what do you like, what don't you like, how does it impact your families, how does it impact your club, any additional suggestions, things like that.
Are parents getting this too?
They're not. We are just going to club directors first. Parents are a wild card because they don't understand the greater impact on the volleyball landscape or the greater influence of the volleyball landscape. They just look myopically at how it impacts their own family and don't really, say, okay, well, right, but if we don't have summer tryouts, we lose half the region and then nobody gets any funding to do ref training and all this stuff. And so there's greater issues that come into it. We have done something for parents in the past, and we will likely consider doing it again. But in the short turnaround before the board meeting, we just wanted to get club directors.
September is a discussion only,
Correct.
board member meeting for this topic. Any changes would be voted on most likely in the November board meeting to give,
November, February.
yes, to give ample time for a summer tryout change or whatever to be.
So
Any other
that's our
questions?
plea. Fill it out and put a lot of information in.
Yes, and be willing to have that conversation with your board member when they phone call you, alright, don't just hang up on them and ghost them.
Sure.
really important that everybody I know is just saying, buyer beware, right? Make sure that your athletes are doing their homework when it comes to what clubs they're trying out for, so that way they know what they're getting themselves into.
And I believe there wasn't a rule at one point where other entities were supposed to follow the tryout policies and rules of the region they were in, even if they weren't a USFL level club. And so we can look into that to see if that policy is still in place, but that's one of those again where there's a slide coming up that says know which event you're in. Same type of thing. Like, we can't do much about it besides educate and show why our process is more friendly to families. Jeff?
Well, that was my point is, JVA, I don't know if that's the only organization you're talking about, but JVA, on their commitment and tryout policy, the first paragraph of that is know and follow your USA Volleyball Region's, tryout and commitment policy as well, and notoriously, it's not going on at all, really.
So if we know it's not going on, which we know it's not going on, I can send that to JVA and let them know that.
Yeah. I mean,
Because it's not
it's hard to enforce it, cause I think it's a best practice.
Yeah.
For them, but, it's definitely, at least for us here in this part of the
Yep.
state, for sure, it's definitely it hurts us,
Definitely.
for sure.
How much connection do you have with AAU?
I can call Joe up right now. We can
Okay,
grab him.
cause that's what we're.
Okay, yep,
It's not
I can
CTA,
reach out to both of them.
Yeah, they're kind of like really aligning with their, in fact, it says JVA and AAU on that same
Right.
page.
Yep.
Yeah.
If we have players or coaches running into that issue or that concern about conflicting tryout times and they know this is what you have to do, then can we kind of just direct them to membership to report the
We
issue
can
or?
certainly educate on that one, and we won't say, well, we're better, we will educate on why our policy is in place, because it's put in place, and we know there's other regions who you have to commit before you walk out of the gym, right? Our board and our clubs have said, we don't wanna do that, we wanna allow the families to have additional opportunities and not have that pressure. And so we're happy to educate on why that policy is in place, or report if it, when it is, and then we can communicate to the other entity.
So if it is a Badger Region club that is following that, do you want us to?
Oh, if it's a Badger Region club not following that, absolutely, we definitely will do that. Yes, and we will make some phone calls. Because sometimes, we try not to jump to nefarious action right away. Some we definitely know are nefarious action. Some are, oh crap, I just read that wrong, or I forgot, or something like that. So yes, let us know and we will have a conversation.
Another question was that, will the survey address those clubs who do only summer tryouts?
Will it address them?
Yes.
Yes, it will be able to.
addressed to them, like everybody gets the certificate.
You said
All.
address.
Yes, there are opportunities for, did you do summer tryouts? I wrote it, I'm trying to remember what I wrote. Did you do summer tryouts, yes or no? Why, yes or no? Why not, yes or no? So it should cover all of the different variations.
Alright, Jen, speaking of knowing your event,
Knowing your
this
event.
is your slide.
Yes, and so again, and I talked about this earlier, so I won't touch on it a lot, but just know, we don't control non-USA volleyball events, right? Kelly talked about it in the tournament director meeting, if somebody runs hey, you're gonna play one set to 11, and that's your event for the day, we can't do anything about that if that's not a Badger Region event. We can make recommendations, so just know that, and then this is why we keep talking about membership, because all of the insurance comes to USA Volleyball first. And so just know, what you can control and what we can control. So their parent behavior, we said this during the tournament director meeting, I will also say it during this meeting, hit it immediately. Like if there's bad parents on the blue team on court 6, let the site director know immediately, and then they can address it, because it's really hard to find what parents are on court 6 at the whatever time in the afternoon, 3 days after the event. So something needs to be said immediately, and then we do track behavior. And so please let us know, if Sarah's parents on her team have been a problem at Britt's event and Kelly's event and Aaron's event, that club director's getting a phone call from me. And club directors, I'm a very nice person until I'm not. and club directors generally don't like to get those emails and phone calls from me, because they're like, oh crap, I know, I'm like, well, if you know, do something about it, cause I don't have a lot of patience for this, so, just please, again, report it, communicate, let's try to do what we can to make this the best possible experience for everyone.
So just a couple things to kind of follow up on what was talked about last year. Just having these things on our radar. Last year we started an initiative called the Boys Spring High School Initiative. The positive thing is that, obviously for those who don't know, boys volleyball happens in the fall for high school. We are one of only 4 states that do it in the fall. We, as a region, and myself as president of the Boys High School Coaches Association, have been making a concerted effort, town halls, emails, meetings with various folk, to educate as many people as possible on the benefits of moving Boys High School to spring. The Boys High School Coaches Association of Badger Region did a survey of ADs and boys coaches in the state, and only 1 in 3 supported a move to spring for Boys High School. It's only, actually, I think it's like 38%. Okay, so not enough to gain the traction at the level the WIAA would need for them to take action. Okay, so we are continuing to educate, all parties involved, whether you're a boys club, a boys high school, if you're a girls club thinking about boys, if you're, all of the people who have a stake in that big high level conversation. We're just doing our best as a region. We are not supporting it one way or the other as a region, okay? We wanna make sure that our athletes are having good experience in both high school and club, right? That's really what's most important to us. If that means keeping it in the fall where it is currently, that's fine by us. We just don't want ever to have to get to a point where a boy or a girl has to pick between, do I play club or do I play high school? Like a lot of soccer players or, other club sports do around the country. So we're doing our best to educate. We are doing a lot of volleyball boys initiatives in this state. Sarah's throwing things.
She's trying to sneak out and it's not working very well.
No, this is her Irish goodbye at every event, so.
She's gotta go sign a lease for her college son.
Yeah, I'm going to Twin Cities.
So on the boys landscape, we are, and probably you guys have heard, the texture wall is gonna be used in high school next year. Boys, the region is gonna be a clearinghouse for for anybody who wants to donate Text to us. We will help disseminate them to high schools in need. Obviously, some schools have very, very small budgets, and we wanna be able to help offset those costs by funding. We just hosted the All-Star Championships a month ago in Madison. It went awesome. We received a large donation of Text from USA Volleyball that we'll be distributing around the state to any boys high school program in need. We're also gonna just take any sort of donations that help them in any way grow boys volleyball. So clubs can give them to us. Colleges, men's college programs are also donating to us so that we can help spread the wealth to the high school programs when they add next year. Another thing to have on our radars. Hang on, did I miss one? Yeah.
No, it's not this,
Oh, okay. So I will be presenting a lot of the other information that I kind of just talked about. Sorry, I just missed that last bullet point on the previous slide. At the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association conference in the weekend after state, or the Monday after state, so November 9th and 10th, at the athletic directors, just to update them at a high level as to the scope of what's going on.
Question, Jeremy.
Yes.
Was that survey sent out to the coaches and athletic directors, did Justice have boys volleyball, or that?
Yes, correct, because, and that's a great question, and that comes up in a lot of discussions. So there's 70 boys volleyball programs, high school programs in the state, okay? The WIA told us, the Coaches Association, you need to get all 70 or close to 70 on the same page before we even consider going to the full membership, which is like 490 high schools in the state. Because if 70 boys coaches can't agree on something, how are 490 who get to vote on topics like that gonna agree on it? It ain't gonna happen. So the WIA has put a long pause on moving boys volleyball at all and having those discussions until boys club on video or in this room, if you are thinking about ever forcing an athlete, or, not forcing, but having your teams compete in late September, October, early November, okay? Let us know, because we'd like to be out in front of that so that we can start having the conversations and saying, hey, WIA, we're sending teams down to Chicago for that big event on October 20th. It's time to start thinking about moving the boys to spring. But it's not until you guys as club directors make that choice to enter teams in an October boys tournament will the WIA do. That makes sense?
Well, we're not gonna do that though. Why would we do that to our athletes? That doesn't make any sense.
There could be always that outlier who says that in tournament is more important than that kid's high school.
Because Chicago is the weekend before the boys state championship.
Right, but you know what we are noticing, Wheels, is that boys tournaments are getting earlier and earlier, right? You know that.
Yeah.
Point series, very early.
Maybe see it last year, they recommended the boys 18 nationals and champions.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's earlier and earlier on the boys' side. Thankfully, we've been holding them off as long as possible, but it's encouraging.
I'm gonna address that, cause people may not know. So Sharkey said most other states in the country, it's flipped. So their club season is their boys play club from September to February. They take a break, go into their high school season, February, March, April, May, and then they come back end of May and train for nationals through July. And so just a heads up that that's what most of the rest of the country